Paragraph number 3. But boys in those southern parts grow apace, and in a little while he was madly in love with a pretty girl who lived on the Grand Marina. So, very beautiful way of writing. The paragraph is going to speak about the love affair that Salvatore had. The love Salvatore had for a girl. When children grow up, especially this is a time after class 10th, class 11th, 12th degree. This is a time people fall in love. People fall in love. They experience, some people have bad experience, some people have a positive experience. So they learn from that. Some stay on as friends, some get separated, some have bitter experiences, some have sweet experience. So that is part of life. Nothing wrong. But boys in those southern parts grow apace. Grow apace means grow in a fast manner. They pick up, they become very fast. They pick up speed. The boys were very smart. They fall in love so easily. And in a little while, he was madly in love with a pretty girl who lived on the Grande Marina. He was madly in love, passionately in love. So, passionate love for a girl. Grand Marina is a city in Italy. Actually, the city's name is Marina Grande. Marina Grande is a city, but here we call it Grand Marina. Grand Marina. It's a city in Italy. She had eyes like forest pools and held herself like a daughter of the seasons. Beautiful expression. It's a symbolic language used. She was not daughter of the Caesar. She was not daughter of Caesar. What the author is trying to convey is something else. She had eyes like forest pools. Forest pools are very, very beautiful. A pool in a forest, magnificent sight. If you happen to go to any forest, hillside, then you'll find the forest pools in the forest are superb sight to see. So the eyes of the girl looked like a forest pool and held herself like a daughter of the Caesars. You know Caesar, King Caesar. The Caesars were famous kings of Rome. You must have studied in history, like Julius Caesar. So the daughter of a Caesar means so proud, so elegant. I'm the daughter of a Caesar. So that was her attitude. So she was beautiful and she looked very elegant and well disposed. They were affianced. Yesterday, one boy sent a message asking me what is the meaning of affianced. So I have given the meaning. So it's given in a workbook also in a short form. Affianced is betrothed. Betrothed. That is a plan to marry. Engaged. They were engaged. Sometimes you have the engagement ring. They give the engagement ring. Then after some time they'll get married. Different customs in different societies. So affianced means they were engaged but not married. So affianced is coming from the root word would mean affiant. That is to trust. To trust. So the boy has a trust in the girl. The girl has trust in the boy that they will not get disengaged. They will continue to love each other and get married afterwards. So that is the meaning of affianced. So this Salvatore and this girl, the girl's name is not given. So they were affianced. They were engaged. But they could not marry till Salvatore had done his military service. So, in many of the foreign countries, when we say foreign, European countries and other foreign countries, a good number of countries, military service is a must. Every young boy, and some places even girls, boys and girls, they should serve the country in the military for some time. Only after that they can get married. So in their prime times, after their studies, they serve in the military in one of the wings of the army, and then they come back and then they get married. So they'll take up responsibilities in life only after the service. It's compulsory. So as a result, Salvatore could not marry before he went for the military service. And when he left the island, which he had never left in his life before, to become a sailor in the navy of King Victor Emmanuel, he wept like a child. So Salvatore never left his hometown. Very important. When you're writing about the character of Salvatore, it's important. So he was remaining in the place or in his village. He never went out. So when he had to go for the military service, and when he left the island which he had never left in his life before, to become a sailor. Sailor is a crew, member of the crew. In the navy of King Victor Emmanuel, he wept like a child. So he was going to serve in the king's army in a ship. It's a warship, WAR, warship. So he wept. He was in full of tears. It was hard for one who had never been less free than the birds to be at the beck and call of others. It was harder still to live in a battleship with strangers instead of in a little white cottage among the vines. And when he was ashore, to walk in noisy, friendless cities with streets so crowded that he was frightened to cross them, when he had been used to silent paths and the mountains and the sea. So there, the author is trying to give us a picture about the hero. It was hard for one who had never been less free than the birds to be at the beck and call of others. It's a phrase. It's a phrase. To be at the beck and call of somebody means at the service of somebody. At the service of somebody. SERVICE. Service. To be at the beck and call. Beck and call. To be at the beck and call. At the service of. At the service of. To be at the beck and call of means to be at the service. When boys and girls fall in love, the boys will be always at the beck and call of the girls. Whatever they ask, they will do it. Even they will do impossible things because they are always at the beck and call of the girls. Only for some time till their needs are satisfied. They're just telling you to just make you to understand. So that is the meaning of beck and call means at the service. The Salvatore was at the service of the king. It was very difficult for him because he was as free as a bird. The bird is so free and it can just fly in the sky as it likes. So he was so free like a bird in the sky. So he is being tied down in the ship and he has to be at the beck and call of others. Beck and call, the service of the army commanders. It was very difficult for him. It was harder still. So it was difficult to be at the service of the military. It was harder still to live in a battleship with strangers instead of in a little white cottage among the vines. He always lived in the same place, in the white cottage with the grape trees. He knew everybody there. He knew the place. Now suddenly to be in a warship, being confined to a ship, it was very, very difficult. And when he was ashore, to walk in noisy, friendless cities with streets so crowded that he was frightened to cross them. This is when inside the ship. Inside the ship, he was feeling out of place. When he comes out of the ship into the streets were so much crowded that he did not dare to cross the streets because he was used to a village life where everything is serene, everything is peaceful. Now, suddenly coming to a city, suppose people who got used to living in the villages of Patrona, suddenly you have to go to Lucknow. You'll feel really messy. Things are not in your control. Yes, Ansh, you want to ask something? Ansh Bharadwaj, you lift your hand.
Saurabh Tiwdawal asking something.
Yeah, please.
He called me Saurabh Tiwdawal.
Eh?
Saurabh Tiwdawal asking something.
Oh, you're not asking me doubt. Eh?
Sir, Saurabh Tiwdawal had to ask you something from you.
Where is he? Saurabh wants to ask. Okay, then you mute yourself. Okay, Saurabh. Where is Saurabh? Not working? Saurabh? Okay. No. Okay, doesn't matter. Leave it. Don't disturb me like that in between. Then somebody else has to, they will lift. You don't help others. Okay. So he was so scared to cross the streets when he had been used to silent paths and the mountains and the sea. So where he lived, the village, it was full of mountains, seas, and other things. And it was very peaceful, very peaceful. Silent paths and the mountains and the sea. Now to come to a city which is fully crowded, where there is lot of life, he found it difficult. I suppose it had never struck him that Ischia, which he looked at every evening, it was like a fairy island in the sunset. To see what the weather would be like next day, or Vesuvius, pearly in the dawn, had anything to do with him at all. But when he ceased to have them before his eyes, he realized in some dim fashion that they were as much part of him as his hands and his feet. It's a little difficult to understand. A long sentence. What it's trying to say is, I will just tell you, Ischia and Vesuvius. What is Ischia? Ischia is a volcanic island in the Gulf of Naples. Ischia is a volcanic island in the Gulf of Naples, close to Italy. Close to Italy, in Naples. So that is a place from where Salvatore is coming. Salvatore's native place is Ischia. And what is Vesuvius? Vesuvius is a mountain range. Vesuvius is a volcanic mountain range, a range of mountains where there are volcanoes. Some are already erupted, some are alive, and future volcanoes are being formed. So, if you go to just you type it in net, you will get Vesuvius. Vesuvius, what is Vesuvius? What is importance? A lot of people go to visit this place. Okay. So, Ischia and Vesuvius, the native place of Salvatore. Salvatore never knew that he was so much attached to these places until he came out of it and experienced the absence of it. It happens. You live in Padrona and you never get connected so much. What is that Padrona? You don't feel it. The moment you leave the place and go to another place, you are going to Lucknow for your studies and you are staying there in a hostel. Then you realize how nice Padrona was. I never realized being in Padrona gave me so much of joy and satisfaction. Similarly, Salvatore realized how Ischia and Vesuvius were close to him until he left the place. So when he left the place and joined the military service, he realized how important they are. What did he realize? They were so much part of him, just like his hands and legs. My hands and legs are very much part of me. So he felt that even Ischia and Vesuvius were also so dear to him like his body parts. That's all. That is the meaning of the entire thing. He was dreadfully homesick. Homesick means you are feeling bad that your people whom you love, people who are close to you, they are not around you. They are not around you. So that is the meaning of homesick. I am feeling homesick. Suppose when you joined LKG, nursery or LKG, first class, you are feeling homesick. All the time you are thinking about mommy and daddy, people at home. You're feeling, this is a very uncomfortable place to be in the Barwalia campus. So that is homesick. So Salvatore also was feeling homesick. He was dreadfully homesick, heavily. Dreadfully means to an extreme level. But it was hardest of all to be parted from the girl he loved with all his passionate young heart. That's the thing. So it's coming stage by stage, is coming. It's difficult to leave the place. It is more difficult to stay there and lose the village which was peaceful. And he realized that Ischia and Vesuvius were very close to him. Then he comes to realize that his family members were so dear to him. But above them all, these stood his girlfriend, because he was passionately in love. He couldn't manage without her. He was feeling so much bad that the girl whom he loved is not with him. He was dreadfully homesick, that is, feeling bad for his people and the place, but it was hardest of all to be parted from the girl he loved with all his passionate young heart. When you are young, your heart is so passionate, so loving. As you grow old, you become less loving. I don't know. You ask yourself. You are young, you must be very passionate now. He wrote to her in his childlike handwriting, like a small child writing, he wrote. His handwriting was not very good. How was handwriting? Wrote to her long, ill-spelled letters in which he told her how constantly he thought of her and how much he longed to be back. The letters were very long. Ill-spelled letters. Poor Salvatore, he was not good at his spellings. If you have those days, no spell check, but he could easily go through the letters and find that he is making plenty of mistakes. So even though he made mistakes, he did not mind. He wrote long letters. That means there would have been plenty of mistakes. Doesn't matter because he's writing letter to his lover. In which, in the letter, what did he write? He told her how constantly he thought of her. Constantly means regularly, without a break. Always he thought of her, and how much he longed to be back. Longed means desired. Longed. Longed means desired, having a great desire. I'd like to come back and meet you. Just waiting. Waiting. How difficult it is to stay here without you. So he wrote long letters. He was sent here and there. Now he has joined the service, and the military service, they will not keep you in one place because they need people where there is a trouble, where there is a possibility of war. So they keep shuttling people from place to place. Similarly, Salvatore also was moved places. He was sent here and there. What are the places? He was sent to Spezia, to Venice, to Bari Island, and finally to China. He need not memorize all those things. He went from place to place. That's all. Only thing is, every time he was getting used to new places and he was feeling so homesick. And he missed, above all, his girlfriend. Here he fell ill. Here he fell means in China. Here he fell ill of some mysterious ailment that kept him in hospital for months. The last place, China, there he fell ill. Mysterious ailment. Ailment is sickness. Ailment. That's a good word you can learn. Ailing, ailment. Ail is sickness. Ail, he is sick, is ail. Ailing parents, sick parents, or ailing patients, sick patients. Ailment is sickness. Very good word you can learn. Ail. Here he fell ill of some mysterious ailment that kept him in hospital for months. So he had to spend a lot of time in the hospital. He bore it with a mute and uncomprehending patience of a dog. Uncomprehending means that cannot be understood. Without much understanding. Without much understanding. Why did he suffer? Why he was ready to suffer? Maybe because he was passionately in love with the girl. He was feeling homesick. These things must have added. So we do not know. He bore it with what did he bore it means? Bore it means ailment. The sickness, the mysterious sickness, he suffered. Bore it means he suffered patiently. He suffered patiently. That's all. With great patience, which we cannot understand, he suffered the sickness that caught him, or the sickness he was suffering from, he could easily get reconciled with. When he learned that it was a form of rheumatism that made him unfit for further service, his heart exulted, for he could go home, and he did not bother. In fact, he scarcely listened when the doctors told him that he would never again be quite well. What did he care when he was going back to the little island he loved so well, and the girl who was waiting for him. This is a word you should learn. By all means, you have to learn this word and by heart it. Okay. RHEU. MATISM. Rheumatism. So must take care about the spelling. If you spell it wrongly, then that will create a problem because it's a key word. It's a key word. Very important word. What is rheumatism? Only here you have to be careful. Matism, okay. Rheumatism. Matism is okay. Only RHEU. 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 This is where you have to pay attention. RHEU. So rheumatism is a disease that affects your muscles and joints. Your muscles and joints will be paining and swelling. Paining and swelling at your muscles. So that is a rheumatism. We'll come back to the passage. He bore it with such mute and uncomprehending patience of the dog. When he learned that it was a form of rheumatism that made him unfit for further service, his heart exulted. Exulted is overjoyed. Exulted, overjoyed, or filled with great happiness. Filled with great happiness. That is overjoyed. So when he heard that a form of rheumatism made him unfit for further service, his heart exulted. Why was he happy? When he got this disease called rheumatism, it was declared that he is unfit for the service in the military or navy. He was working with the navy. He was in the ship. Therefore, he was working in the navy. So when it's a military service, it can be in the army or navy or any of the three wings. Any of the three wings. It's called the army service. Okay. Sorry, military service. So why was he happy? The doctor declared that he is unfit to be at the service of the king. He is there to serve, compulsory service he is rendering. And the doctor said that you're having rheumatism and you're unfit to serve the military. That means you'll have to go back. When you go back, you'll be able to get back to the village he loved so much. And more than that, his girlfriend is waiting there and he could meet her. Once more, I'll just explain that one. When he learned that it was a form of rheumatism that made him unfit for further service, his heart exulted, overjoyed, for he could go home and he did not bother. In fact, he scarcely listened when the doctors told him that he would never again be quite well. Actually, what the doctor said was something very, very catastrophic, very bad. He said, you are unfit. He will never again be well. It is something like a person who gets AIDS, is affected by AIDS, he goes to hospital, he has a checkup, and doctor says they're having AIDS. He doesn't even hear what he said. He was preoccupied with something else. So he says it's okay. So here, Salvatore was told that it's something very deadly. He will never again be well because rheumatism is a dangerous disease. but he never paid attention to what doctor said. His only preoccupation was his village. He liked so much, and the girl who is waiting there to see him. What did he care when he was going back to the little island he loved so well, and the girl who was waiting for him? Nothing else he needs, because he was feeling homesick. Homesick. His only desire was to get back home. And when the doctor said that he was suffering from rheumatism and is unfit to serve the army or military, he was so happy. Next paragraph. When he got into the rowing boat that met the steamer from Naples and was rowed ashore, he saw his father and mother standing on the jetty and his two brothers, big boys now, and he waved to them. His eyes searched among the crowd that waited there. His eyes searched among the crowd that waited there for the girl. He could not see her. There was a great deal of kissing when he jumped up the steps, and they all, emotional creatures, cried a little when they exchanged their greetings. He asked where the girl was. His mother told him that she did not know. They had not seen her for 2 or 3 weeks. So in the evening, when the moon was, okay, we'll take up that one first. So very simple, very simple. He is now coming back home, and he is coming in the ship. The ship cannot go to the shore because it needs deep water. So he is being taken from the ship to a rowing boat where he can row the boat with the help of oars. These are the words you should know. Row, R-O-W, row, or, O-A-R, or. Or is like your cricket bat, something like similar to your cricket bat with a oar he can row. So he was taken to that boat and he reaches the shore. There his people are waiting there to meet him. And there was a lot of excitement, there was a lot of joy. And they were all different expressions. Some were shouting, "Oh, he's back, you're back. Come on, welcome home. Come on. How are you?" And some came and hugged him and kissed him, lot of kissing and all those. And there were tears. Some were overjoyed that he is back. So that is a scene pictured beautifully. When he got into the rowing boat that met the steamer from Naples. Steamer is the small. The steamer is it's like a boat or ship that is working with the help of a steam. Steamer. That's a huge thing. From there, he was taken to the rowing boat and brought ashore. From Naples and was rowed ashore. Ashore means shore or land. He saw his father and mother standing on the jetty. Jetty is a place built in the shore of the sea, in the water itself, where the small ship or small boats can come. Small boats can be kept docked. They can be stationed there. Boats can be stationed in the jetty. This meaning is given there in a workbook. And his two brothers, big boys now, and he waved to them. So who were all waiting? His parents, mother, father, and two brothers. The brothers whom he used to nurse, whom he used to take care. They were very small. Now they have grown big. So it presupposes that he has come back after a long time, maybe few years. His eyes searched among the crowd that waited there. His eyes searched in the crowd that was waiting there for the girl whom he loved. He saw his daddy, mummy, brothers. Okay, he's happy, but his eyes were searching for somebody else. He could not see her. There was a great deal of kissing when he jumped up The steps and they all, emotional creatures, cried a little when they exchanged their greetings. So that is just a way of expressing how he was welcomed. He asked where the girl was. His mother told him that he did not know. They had not seen her for 2 or 3 weeks. So he asked, where is the girl? Where is she? And mother said, I don't know. I haven't seen her for few weeks. She hasn't come this side, but I haven't seen her. I do not know. So means therefore. What is the meaning of therefore? Since his mother said that she hasn't seen her for 2 or 3 weeks and she does not know why she is absent. So, therefore, in the evening when the moon was shining over the placid sea and the lights of Naples twinkled in the distance, he walked down to the Grand Marina to her house. Since mother said, I haven't seen her for some time, and I do not know what happened, he decided to go and look for her. So, in the evening when the moon was shining over the placid sea, placid is peaceful, calm, C-A-L-M, C-A-L-M, calm. So, placid. It's a good word. It's a good word. You can learn. Placid. Placid is calm or peaceful. The sea which was peaceful in the evening and the moon was coming up and the lights of Naples twinkled. Lights of Naples twinkled. You know, twinkle, twinkle, it will start. Twinkle means flickered, flickering or shining. From Naples, he could see the flickering lights that time of the day, towards the end of the day, dusk time, he went to see her. In the distance, he walked down to the Grand Marina to her house. She was sitting on the doorstep with her mother. I think it's already time. And 9:35. A few more minutes. We'll complete this paragraph. Okay. He walked down to the Grand Marina to her house. She was sitting on the doorstep with her mother. He was little shy because he had not seen her for so long. So when he went there, she was sitting there with her mother. And he was feeling shy. Boy was feeling shy. Normally girls feel shy. Here the boy was feeling shy. He asked her if she had not received the letter that he had written to her to say that he was coming home. Why he was shy? Because he did not know what had happened. Whether it's his mistake or something went wrong, the letter did not reach her. That's why he was feeling little bad. Then he asked, I had been sending letters to you. Did you receive them? Yes, they had received a letter and they had been told by another of the island boys that he was ill. Yes, that was why he was back. Was it not a piece of luck? Oh, but they had heard that he would never be quite well again. The doctor talked a lot of nonsense, but he knew very well that now he was home again, he would recover. The problem is they knew too many things. His fear was that whether they received the letter at all, but it was not the case. They had received the letter and they heard so many things which they should not hear. They knew that he was sick. They knew that he has been sent back from the service because of that. Also, they came to know that the doctors have given a bad certificate about him, that he is unfit now. So they knew too many things. But he was confident that whatever the doctor said, he did not hear it. Even if the doctors have said that It is like that. He will recover because he has come back to his hometown.